Good morning, everybody, and thank you for joining us today for our webinar on the IPM performance for the month of March. And thanks everybody for joining us today, despite being a public holiday for Good Friday. Thanks a ton. So today we will have a very brief session where we'll understand how the IPM has performed and what may have been the likely factors for leading this type of growth. Okay. So what we will be covering today is the therapy performance. We will be covering today is the therapy performance, the growth drivers, the top 40 corporates, the top 40 brands, and the key takeaways. So coming to the therapy performance, what we have seen is for the month of March, the IPM has shown a robust value growth of 13% and unit growth of 9.5%. However, if I look at all the therapies in the IPM, all the top therapies in the IPM, all of these therapies have not grown at the same rate. It is actually the anti-infectives therapy, the respiratory therapy, and the pain analgesics therapy. It is these three therapies which have primarily driven the growth of the market for the month. If I were to look at, and these three therapies collectively contribute to around 30% of the IPM, and they are the ones who have shown the strongest growth in terms of value as well as units for the month of March. If I were to look at the overall growth of these therapies in terms of value and units for the whole year, anti-infectives therapy shows a negative growth in terms of value and positive growth or a very minimal growth in terms of units, whereas respiratory segment continues to show a double-digit growth in terms of value as well as I would say a decent growth in terms of units. Pain analgesics continues to show a good double-digit growth in terms of value, whereas the unit growth shows a slight decline. So for the month, it is these three therapies which have driven the growth of the market and have shown a good double-digit growth. Now, within these therapies, is it that all the molecules or all the segments within these therapies have shown that type of growth? We try to find out which are the top molecules or molecular combinations in these therapies which have really shown that robust growth and have been showing that type of robust growth month on month for the last 1 year. What we have identified is in the anti-infectives therapy, it is the amoxicillin plus clavulanic acid combinations, the azithromycin, and a good number of hospital anti-infectives which have shown this type of growth. As far as the respiratory segment is concerned, among the anti-asthma preparations, it is the ambroxol, levosalbutamol, and guaifenesin combination, as well as certain inhalers. They have shown this type a good high amount of growth. As well as in the cough and cold segment, it is the chlorpheniramine and dextromethorphan combinations which have shown a significant growth. In case of pain segment, obviously it's the paracetamol which is the highest contributing segment or the highest contributing molecule and which continues to show a strong growth. Now, what may be the reasons for these molecules pushing or showing this type of growth? We try to evaluate the growth drivers of the market, and what we have seen is overall for the market, what we have seen is it is the volume growth same time last year was highly negative, whereas the volume growth this time is positive. Also, if I were to see in the last, it is the second consecutive month, even for the month of Feb 23, the market had shown a robust growth, and this robust growth continues to be seen for the month of March as well. Now, in case if I were to compare these two periods, the month of Feb and the month of March, same period last year, I will see that for the month of Feb 22 and March 22, the market had shown a significant volume decline, and this decline may have got corrected. So there are two parameters or two aspects which have led to this high growth of this market. One is the correction of the dip that the market has shown same time last year, as well as there has been certain genuine increase in demand, which is relatively higher than the normal demand. But I'm not saying it's a very high surge or very high, very huge peak or huge growth in demand. There is a slightly relatively higher increase in demand that has been seen in the market. Now, with change of seasons, there are many flu cases or viral cases that we are seeing in the market. That may be one of the reasons which may have led to the growth of these molecules in this segment. I would not contribute this entire growth to those viral infections because it's a seasonal aspect as well, that certain infections do increase in certain seasons. But with the change in climate, and as we keep on reading in the newspapers, there is a slightly relatively higher increase in certain cases, which may have led to this growth of the market. We also try to look at the same picture for each of the therapies. And we identify that it is the anti-infectives therapy and the respiratory therapy. It is the anti-infectives and the respiratory therapy which have shown a relatively higher volume growth as compared to the other therapies. In fact, other therapies like vitamins, pain, derma category, even cardiac to a great extent, whatever growth these therapies have shown for the month is majorly a price increase driven growth, whereas it is the anti-infectives and the respiratory therapy, and to some extent the pain therapy, have shown a good volume driven growth for the market. If I were to look in terms of long term as well, anti-diabetes therapy, obviously because of the loss of patents or many of the molecules going off patent, the new molecule, the new introductions or new line extensions or SKUs that have been launched in the market, they are the ones who have shown this type of growth. Then if I were to look at the top corporates, top 40 corporates, now obviously there are the anti-infectives, the anti-infectives, respiratory and pain segment were the ones which have grown relatively faster. And if I were to look at the growth of the top 20 corporates, in the top 20 corporates, a good number of companies which exist in these therapies like Mankind, Cipla, Macleods, Aristo, Glenmark, they are the ones who have managed to gain or take advantage of the or leverage the market opportunity well, and they are the ones who have shown a very good double-digit growth in terms of value as well as units for the month. In case of Mankind and Cipla, this same positive growth is seen for these companies month on month. It is Mankind, Cipla as well as Macleods, wherein month on month, because this same double digit growth is seen at a MAT level. When we are seeing the same double digit growth at a MAT level, it means for majority of the months, these companies have continued to show this type of robust growth. Now, if I were to look at the next 20 companies, what we identify, we see a similar picture where Alembic, FDC, Laranon, Indoco, Hetero, Apex, these companies exist in the therapies which are like anti-infectives, respiratory and pain therapies, and have certain key brands which are well-known legacy brands in these segments, and these brands have really done well in terms of leveraging the market opportunity and have given this type of push or growth to these companies. Coming to the top 40 brands, Augmentin continues to stay at a #1 position for the MAT period as well as for the month period. And the good part is, despite the heavy base or high turnover, this brand continues to show a double-digit month and value growth even for the month of March. So if we were to track the Augmentin for the last several months, this brand has been showing a month-on-month double-digit growth in terms of not just value, but also in terms of units. Besides Augmentin, there are other brands like Foracort, Monosef, Zerodol SP, Calpol, Orofor XT, Clavem, and Bidacort among the top 20 brands which continue to show a really impressive double-digit value as well as volume growth for the month of March. If I were to look at the next 20 brands, of course, there are brands like Micro, brands like Dolo from Micro, which has shown a good double-digit growth. Which have continued to show a good double-digit growth, and they continue to do well. I'm extremely sorry because I'm taking this session from my residence, so I may not have the same connectivity as I have when I take it from office. Then, so basically, the brands which are, if you look at Dolo, Duolin, Micacine, Moxicine, CD, all of these brands fall in the high value or high growth segments like anti-infectives, respiratory segment, which have shown high growth, and these brands have really leveraged the opportunity of the market. So net-net, if I were to talk about the key takeaways of the IPM, the IPM has shown a robust value and volume growth for the month of March, and this growth is primarily driven by anti-infectives, respiratory and pain analgesic segment, which collectively contribute to around 30% of the IPM. The growth is a volume-driven growth for the IPM with significant volume growth seen in the anti-infectives and the respiratory segment. Pain and analgesics has shown a growth, but then as compared to the anti-infectives and respiratory segment, it is a relatively lower growth. But yes, the growth is good and a double-digit growth. And corporates operating in the high-growth molecules have shown robust growth for the month of March 23. So we try to keep the presentation this time very crisp because it is a public holiday. And thank you everyone for joining us today. And this is all from our side, and have a great weekend ahead. Thank you so much.